Every country in the world is drowning in debt. The US breaks a record with $38 trillion of debt. Japan owes $9 trillion, Europe $14 trillion. Even oil-rich countries are in debt. Giant economies like China and Germany also owe trillions of dollars. So if everyone is in debt, then to whom will these debts be paid? This is exactly where things get strange. Debt is like the backbone of modern world countries. Wars, crises, economic collapses. All are built upon a hidden credit debt system. When you follow this chain of debt, you face this truth. The world is actually indebted not to someone else, but to itself. But of course, not everyone benefits from this system equally. Today, countries owe a total of $315 trillion. This debt is about 3 times the size of the entire world economy. So how did we reach these numbers? The answer goes back hundreds of years, to the birth of modern banking. In 1694, England was at war with France and began to run out of gold. The king found the solution in borrowing gold from merchants. In return, he promised interest payments from future taxes. The Bank of England was founded to control this system. For the first time in history, a state spent money it did not yet have. And the promise given in return turned into a tradable value, the government bond. This model spread across Europe almost instantly. The US used the same method to finance its independence. Thus, debt became a symbol of power for states. Empires that once conquered lands now collected debt and interest. Modern battlefields became balance sheets. Today, debt is the world's largest export tool. The US has $38 trillion of debt, but most of this debt belongs to its own citizens, banks, and funds. Foreign debt is only around $9 trillion. So there is no such thing as the US owes China. Most of America's debt is internal. The same cycle exists in other countries. The US borrows from Japan. Europe borrows from the US through the IMF. Developing countries borrow from European nations. Those nations then reinvest their savings into the bonds of developed countries. A giant, vicious cycle. Everyone relies on the bonds issued by everyone else. It's as if everyone at a poker table has borrowed chips from one another, and the only rule of the game is, no one may leave the table. In this system, the most powerful entities are the markets, banks, funds, and central banks that move trillions of dollars. They are the ones who actually decide how much each country can borrow, and which country will be pushed into crisis. When a country loses trust, its currency collapses, interest rates skyrocket, and governments can fall. Democracy is the people deciding who will rule. Markets are deciding who will survive. Central banks are the heart of this system. By buying government bonds, they circulate money. So in reality, money is born from debt. There is no money without debt. Money means debt. Today, no state plans to pay off its debts. The reason is simple. Government debt is considered the safest investment in the world. Pension funds, banks, central banks, they all use government bonds as if they were money. If states attempted to repay all their debt, the world's financial system would collapse. Because these bonds are the core assets of banks and funds. This is why the goal is not to pay off debt, but to keep the debt sustainable. But the burden of debt is not distributed equally. Interest payments come mostly from workers and taxpayers, and flow toward institutions and wealthy investors who hold the debt. For this reason, debt is not only a transfer mechanism between countries, but also between economic classes. Today's world economy is built entirely on a system of trust. Everyone holds promises and debts given to one another. As long as there is trust in these promises, the system continues to function. But once trust cracks, everyone remembers the truth that has been forgotten. Debt is actually a promise that cannot be kept. If you want to save your past, present, and future with history, don't forget to subscribe.